Turn back, Nikki, before it's too late.
Scraps? What are you doing with my shoes?
These shoes have outlived their usefulness. And this is a crystal. Nothing more.
Whoa. Yeah. I get it. And I suppose if I take the crystal and I turn it this way, it will show me my dreams.
No, it's just a crystal. I found it in the laundry room. Who do you think I am?
But you didn't and I thought we were doing a labyrinth thing. Never mind. Not important. Obviously.
You better hurry up, Nikki, because it's further than you think, and time is short.
You are hearing yourself, right? Never mind. I'll just go get my paintbrushes. This way?
Be sure to watch your step.
Why do I need to watch my step?
There are oubliettes everywhere.
Do you have that certain movie that has made a big impact in your life? One that opens that large window to your imagination, inspiring you and giving you joy? For me, such a movie is the 1986 film Labyrinth. Although some of the parts to this movie have not aged well, I am still inspired by this magical world of Jim Henson. The costumes, sets, and amazingly creative creatures continue to feed my imagination decades later. The simplest description of this film that I can give you is that it is a rite of passage. It's about a bitter youth on the cusp of adulthood who, in a fit of frustration, accidentally wishes her baby brother away to a magical realm. She has to find her way through a labyrinth and go through trials that end up teaching her lessons like words have power, things aren't always what they seem, and life isn't always fair. Some fans continue to speculate whether she really traveled to the Goblin King's world, or if it was all in her head. But one thing that is agreed upon is that the heroine Sarah comes out of the ordeal a bit wiser and a lot better at prioritizing what's really important. I have a few books on the artwork of this movie, and am using one of my favorite images as a focal point for this project. When the idea of the movie was still in its infant stage, an artist by the name of Brian Froud painted a baby surrounded by goblins. One of these goblins is my favorite out of all of the designs. Although he was never used in the film, I find him fascinating and love the bird-like reptilian look of him. One of the characteristics that stands out the most for me in this design is the red sphere and matching red eyes of the goblin. He is also one of the more colorful of his species, and is blue when most of the others are gray or tan. Here's a fun fact. In the movie, the goblin puppets have reflective material behind their eyes that give off a red glowing flash every time the studio lights caught it just right. I was fortunate enough to see one of the original puppet heads at San Diego Comic-Con a few years ago, and saw this wonderful little detail in person. In case anyone is wondering why I'm not painting on the classic Van shoes that artists prefer, I do not personally like the fit of the brand and plan to wear these shoes. Although it is true that the plain white canvas of Vans is easier to paint, they tend to be more narrow and pinch my feet. Plus, you shouldn't feel limited to one brand of shoe if you wish to paint a pair. Yes, it is more difficult to get clean lines around more porous fabric, but this can be managed pretty well with just more paint on the brush and a little patience. After all the blue shading was done, I started painting on the many warts of the Goblin. I didn't bother matching each one perfectly to the original, but had fun and just got the main feel of the texture. All of the warts were painted simply with the French gray and then a dot of white for the highlight. In the original painting, the helmet looks like it may be gold with the red velvet cover wrapped along the cap, so I did my best to emulate this. For the second shoe, I decided to paint His Majesty King Jareth in his owl form. When the script of the movie was still being written, they were going to have King Jareth turn into a goblin at the end of the story. This was to give the idea that his fey form was yet another trick for the main character Sarah. There was also a time when Jim Henson was going to make the character a puppet just like the other creatures, but later changed him to a human form to better fit the evolving plot. The contenders to play the character of Goblin King were Prince, Sting, Michael Jackson, David Bowie, and Mick Jagger. Near the end, it was between Jackson and Bowie for the part, but Jim Henson gave the spot to David Bowie because he felt in the end he could portray the intimidating image of adulthood King Jareth was meant to symbolize. Even though I love David Bowie's performance as Jareth, I often wonder how the feel of the film would have changed if they ended up going with Michael. I feel the need to apologize for not showing the painting of the moon above the owl's head. Unfortunately, all the filming was completely out of frame and I couldn't salvage any of it. But this won't even matter in the end, considering my vision didn't really play out as I planned. But you'll see that in a bit. I ended up changing the position of the claws. Originally, I was going to have them down as the owl is in flight, but decided to have them in an up position to later add a crystal that will better fit the theme of the movie. I was going to have just the owl and the moon on this shoe, but decided that it had too much empty space in comparison to the first shoe, so I added the Goblin castle at the bottom. Now on to my error. I had it in my head that the face of the 13-hour clock, which is important throughout the film, would be nice if it had the image of the moon. After painting the numbers and the clock hands on, I completely lost all of my hard work. It looks nothing like the moon now. Oh well. I still don't regret painting on the clock details though, considering the significance of it in the movie. After all the painting was complete, I went on to add rhinestones. Using E6000 for an adhesive, I added black diamond crystals one by one to create a labyrinth pattern on all the black suede parts of the shoes. And with that, I was finally done. So, did you like this video? Did you hate it? Please comment below. If you want to see other videos like this, please like and subscribe. I hope to see you again.